What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel. And thank you guys for tuning in to BCFC Playoff Preview numero 2 as we preview semifinal Saturday is what we're going to dub it here in BC as we are into playoff football. It is win or go home time here in the British Columbia Football Conference. Couldn't be more excited to be back at you guys talking about another playoff matchup. If you guys miss out on the first one, which was uploaded on Monday over at the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel, which is where you guys are taking in this video right here. You guys can find the Okanagan Sun Vancouver Island Raiders playoff preview, exact same style format as this video right here. Just wanted to get some chatter going, building some excitement for both of the matchups on Saturday. We're gonna be lucky enough to be joined by Westshore Rebels head coach Bryan here momentarily to preview the Westshore Rebels side of things. But of course, before we do get into having Coach Bryan join us here tonight, if you guys are enjoying all the content here on the channel, enjoying following along all season long, please be sure to leave a like on today's video, comment down below, letting us know how excited you guys are specifically about this matchup, as well as maybe how you guys are enjoying the content here on the Fanatics YouTube channel. Of course, most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube channel. When you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell. You guys get notified every time we go live or upload a video just like this one right here. So we got a lot to talk about, and we're excited, as you guys can tell. But before we do get into that, a few reminders, as always, to follow us on our social media platforms as well, guys. At Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram. We're doing quite well over there right now. Trying to get some excitement going with some graphics and stuff like that for the week as well. Going to hopefully have a few of those out, as well as as I mentioned, our very own CFF. I think we can kind of dub it CFF times Wizard Takes BCFC All-Stars, as the BCFC officially will be dropping their All-Stars, I believe, on Friday, as voted on by the coaches in the very own BCFC. This one, it will be in the opinion, of myself and a little opinion from Wiz as well. Shout out to Wiz though once again. I'm talking about social media. If you guys are living under a rock and you haven't heard, make sure you guys are following Wiz on Instagram, as well as he's blowing up the CJFL in many ways on his platform as well. So big shout out to Wiz. Wiz, hopefully you're enjoying, buddy. Keep on doing you. But following us on our social media platforms. Of course, I mentioned on the last preview that hopefully I would be up for the Cullen Cup, wherever that might be, or during semifinal Saturday, where I might attend in which game. It's going to be this very own game right here. Being an Nanaimo resident, I don't think it's probably more reasonable or more, I don't even want to say realistic, but easier on me for sure to travel down the Island Highway, go down to Victoria, check out the game in Langford versus the Prince George Kodiaks and Westshore Rebels, because I actually think this is going to be a very exciting game. These two teams met way back in week number 1, actually, which was a 33-13 victory by the Westshore Rebels. But other than that, folks, I believe that is pretty much it in terms of the reminders going into this episode. Going to be joined by Coach Bryan, as I mentioned, to preview the Westshore Rebels side of things and get his opinion on the matchup, as well as the season, his first season at the helm as the Westshore Rebels head coach. And obviously, as a proud alumni, he brings, kind of wanting to not even restore that rich tradition, but kind of make the Rebel name proud. And he's done that in kind of leaps and bounds, taken a few steps this season. I believe they finished 5-5 last season. We'll chat about it with him. They ended up finishing 7-3, 2 games better than they did in 2024 in the first year in Coach Bryan's tenure. So should be a fun one on today's episode. I'm trying to think if we have any more reminders to get to. For some reason, I feel like I'm drawing a blank right now. And I was going to say something. Of course, I have all my notes, not with any notes that I wanted to start with, though. But I think without further ado, let's send it over right now to Coach Bryan, and let's chat some Westshore Rebels side of things for this Westshore Rebels Prince George Kodiaks semifinal Saturday. Joining me now is head coach of the Westshore Rebels, Coach Connor Bryan. Coach, thanks for joining us. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Oh, doing well, doing very well, especially come this time of year, Coach. We've had the benefit of chatting with you quite a bit, obviously way back in the preseason going into the year, chatted a few times after games and stuff like that. But Coach, with speaking with you and stuff like that, obviously you like to you're a very humble guy and like to play it down. But I'm curious, Coach, in your first season at the helm, able to get your program into the playoffs once again, and even kind of take somewhat of a step forward from last year. I believe finishing, I mentioned just before you got on here with the 5-5 record in 2024. You guys finished this year with 7-3, so 2 games improved in the win category. Could even say that you could maybe had a win or two more as well. What does this win mean to not only you, because I know, as I mentioned, the humble guy that you are, you'll deflect to, it takes a village and stuff like that. And not only is it just you, obviously it goes to, the coaches and credit goes to coaches and players. But for you in your first season, have you maybe been able to look back at that quite yet and kind of realize that, this is a tremendous year that you've been able to have in your first year?
Yeah, honestly, the only time I've really been able to think about it was this past weekend, but still didn't get too much thought process in. It just feels like last week we were having our first interview at the beginning of the year. So the season's really flown by, and it's been a fantastic. I feel very blessed having this kind of year as a first year coach. Sure, we did leave a win or two off the table, but overall, really happy with our coaching staff, our program, and how our boys played this year. And just excited to get the real season going this weekend.
Boy, has the season ever flown by, Coach? I can't believe it's already 12 weeks has gone by already. As you mentioned, we chatted way back in before the season even started as well, and it's crazy that we look up now and it's the middle of October. But Coach, within that, you just mentioned there the bye week last week, kind of the uniqueness of obviously the CFL. We have the 9 teams, and the CDFL, or excuse me, I used to say that the BCFC we have the 7 teams. So kind of the uniqueness. Usually, everyone has a bye once a week, or some team has a bye every week. How are you able to maybe utilize that to your guys' benefit last week? I know some people might, kind of look at that as maybe you guys could maybe get a little bit rusty or kind of out of sorts in that week. But I feel like at that time of the year, you're able to rest, recover. I know you even have some guys banged up, right? With the Gila Newsy, some Beckwith, some guys that are trying to return to the lineup. How are you able to utilize last week's bye week to your advantage, as well as kind of take this time to prep and maybe adjust some of your guys' stuff for Prince George coming up, obviously.
Yeah, we definitely went into this bye week with a plan to focus on recovery for our guys. It's been 8 games straight since our last bye week, so our guys are really needed the time to rest and recover. However, we still needed to be focused on preparation since we knew who we are going to be playing this weekend. So the big focus last week was obviously rest and recovery, but also making sure that we're getting our film in and really breaking down what Coach Boreham and them are doing up in Prince George and how we can take advantage of certain schemes and make a game plan. So having that extra week of prep mentally, I think was very good, especially for our team being so young. But more importantly, the rest aspect was super important as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, Coach. So let's get into your team a little bit, especially the 2025 version. 9 times out of 10 on a football team, the quarterback is going to be number one in the conversation, and rightfully so, especially on your group. I want to kind of tie this into a two-part question, though, as well. But obviously, not only do you have a special quarterback coach, you have a special receiver, and arguably maybe the best duo in the CDFL with Gavin and Zion this year. Very lucky enough to call 2 of their games this season. Seen them when they took on, or when obviously BI went down to Westshore as well. So, how special are those two as a duo? And obviously, individually, you can even talk about them as sometimes with a receiver and quarterback, they can kind of maybe, oh, well, who makes one or the other? I feel like these two guys make each other great in their own right and kind of, thrive on their own if they ever had to be in that situation. So just how special has it been to been able to get a front row seat to Gavin and Zion this year?
I think anytime records are broken in the league, I think comes with special players behind that, and Zion and Gavin are both just the exemplary football player looking for. I really press our guys to be playing their best football every time we step on the field at Starlight, and those guys absolutely do that. Same things you see them doing in games, they're doing the exact same stuff at practice. So it's not something that's just happening at the moment. It's something that these guys are making the connection to be able to pull off those kind of plays, and I think their competitive drive to push each other to be better is what really blossoms and creates such a dynamic duo between the two of them. And they got plenty of football left in them to play, and lots of plays left to make.
Yeah, Coach. As I mentioned, I was lucky enough to call a couple of their games this season. I'm a very proud Vancouver Island Raider alumni. I know I kind of dubbed it, the play of the year we were able to see, in my opinion, in the CJFL with Zion, or excuse me, with Gavin's escapability, able to shrug off a defender, and Zion able to go get that catch. It was just an incredible play, as you mentioned. They're making that not only on a game-to-game basis, I'm sure weekly basis at practice and whatnot. So an incredible duo. Now, Coach, getting in kind of the rest of your offense a little bit. I know we chatted about it in person a little bit more too, but just I feel like the incredible luxury you guys have of a loaded offensive skill position group right now. When you look at not only Zion, but you look at guys like Hoffman, Beckwith, obviously I know he's hurt right now and stuff like that, but Bowles as well. You also look at the backfield, and it's kind of a three-headed monster in a way. I know obviously Carter Williams is kind of RB1, banged up throughout the year, but you look at like a guy like Ryan Vincent, very reliable and guy for you in 2024. Antoine Daly now stepping up for you guys as well, and kind of been a very key piece for your offense. How important has that been to a great player like Zion? Most defenses might come in and be like, well, let's shut down this guy, and it's game over for the Westshore Rebels. When it's not the case. When you try to take away Zion and kind of maybe show some double coverage and single some of those other guys up, you're kind of living on the edge. I didn't even actually mention Tyrell Hoffman, who's arguably the second best receiver in the BCFC this season. So how much of, as I mentioned, kind of a luxury has that been for your guys' offense for opposing not been able to key on just one guy?
It just makes our playbook that much more versatile, and really forces teams to make their decisions on who they're going to cap and work towards, and who they trust in one-on-one situations. And myself and Coach Rob, our OC, are happy with any of our guys to make a play, and having a guy like Gavin who can deliver the football and spread the ball out to guys like Aiden Bowles, Tyrell Hofflin, Jeremiah Beckwith, Tristan Alves Ramirez. They're all weapons, and they're dynamic, and it's so impressive to watch those guys and see how much better they've become over the off season. And in my opinion, become one of the best receiving corps in the country. And then having a dynamic back like Carter Williams to add in there, who can break a power anywhere on the field to the house, and with the hard nose running that Antoine and Ryan Vincent bring. I love our offense and the versatility that we can use, and it makes it really fun for me and Coach Rob when we're drawing plays up and seeing how we can mismatch and utilize those weapons. And then also to get the big boys up front some love as well. I think Marino Duella has had a phenomenal season at left tackle. Jonah Anderson's done a great job anchoring the inside, playing with a young guard next to him, Shamar Solberg. And then obviously Xavier, our 22-year-old right guard, is doing a great job working with our rookie right tackle as well. So can't say enough about the offense. But we've had our downs and our ups, but I think we're ready to go, and we're going in the perfect momentum going into playoffs.
As a former quarterback coach, we could not forget about the big boys up front. Of course, shout out to the Hoggies, because nothing could happen without them, Coach. But let's get on over to the other side of the ball. When I mentioned we chatted before the season, we chatted kind of about the excitement of another young coach like yourself, Brandon Gandire, you got experience playing with in a Westshore Rebels jersey, to kind of lead this defensive group this season. And how happy have you been with maybe the standard Coach Gandire set on defense of, I feel like, and kind of chatted about this with Coach Rabsky in their matchup, about kind of the defense working in tandem in a sense, right? With your guys' front being very impressive. And I know we chatted about it with Manny, not really getting some of those numbers coming into this year. Now he's backing up with those sack numbers, as well as how much of a disruptive force he is in some of the rundowns as well. But you look at a guy like Will Bromwell, who I think really came onto the scene this year. I think 7.5, 8 sacks, I believe, on the season. You also look at a guy like PJ Hudson, who you guys missed in the late portion of the season, kind of benefiting off of a back end with guys like Cam Cohen, Bronson Pfeiffer. Obviously, you guys, as I mentioned, lose Gio Lanuzzi, being able to kind of match that rush with coverage, and then coverage with the rush. And then how could I forget the linebacking core to kind of throw in a true 3-level defense of Bryce, and Bo kind of leading the linebacking core. So how sad, or I guess how happy have you been with the standard kind of set by the defense this season?
I'm very excited and very happy with the work that Coach Brandon has done with the defense. Kudos to all of our coaches on the defensive side of the ball and then the work they've done. We're pretty young defensively, and we've had a lot of young guys rotating in this year. And to be able to have them go out there and compete against some of these teams, against 21 and 22-year-olds, and show their growth since week one has been phenomenal. I think a big thing that I really like that Coach Brandon's brought in is, especially with those DBs, is we're looking for playmakers, right? We want the ball in our offense's hands as much as possible, and I think with the D line that we got with Manny and Will, EJ, Marcus Fry, providing the pressure and the run support, and letting our DBs go out there and make plays like Cam Cohn has, Bronson Pfeiffer, Ben Matai, Isaiah Boughton, right? They're all ballers, and they all are ball hungry, and they want that football, and they want that ball thrown their way so they can get the ball back for us. And I think it works really well with our philosophy as a team and what we want to accomplish. And I'm more than excited about what Coach Brandon's done and what he's going to continue to do.
Yeah, Cam Cohen sure been a treat to watch. Obviously, got to watch him and I believe the three interception game up here in Nanaimo, the pick six and stuff like that. Arguably should have had in that game due to a premature whistle. Uh, but as I mentioned, Coach, kind of nice to see a guy like Manny kind of get rewarded with some of those gaudy numbers where fans or maybe people that don't watch the BCFC on a weekly basis, they kind of maybe are like, who's this Manny Fiatu guy coming into the season? When you turn on the film and he's a very disruptive piece, and now this year kind of being able to be rewarded. And as you mentioned, a young group, I believe Will and Manny, no older than I believe their third years, I believe, correct, Coach?
Yeah, Manny's in his third year, and Will just is in second year as a sophomore.
Yeah, it'll be very exciting to see those guys continue to progress throughout their BCFC CJFL careers. So next, Coach, kind of just flipping it towards the matchup now, Coach. The last few before we get you out of here. I'm curious, as you mentioned, with the bye week being able to be in there, you guys knowing who your opponent was. Maybe kind of what were some of those things, and obviously not wanting to give away all the secrets and whatnot, but what were some of those things that maybe you were able to pick up on film and kind of the challenges maybe that a Prince George Kodiaks team will present not only on offense, defense, and kind of mentioned a special teams aspect from them as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, Coach Boreham's done a great job with the program up there. Offensively, they got a quarterback that can get the rock thrown. They got some receivers that can definitely make some plays on the outside. Myron Brown. So we got to be on our best in terms of being able to pressure him and make sure to get him off his game, so we can get that errant throw hopefully, and then be able to make a play or get that sack. And then defensively, man, they are big in the box. There's no doubt about it. I think when I walked up there week one, I was looking at them. I was looking at their Sam linebacker, and he's 6'4", 230, and he was the average size of that entire box. So they're big and mean in the box, and they don't want you to run up the middle. But they've done a really good job, and it's just about playing to our strengths as a team, where we see that we have the mismatches and executing our game plan. Special teams, Brady Harper, one of the best kickers in the league. Really impressive to see what he's been able to do, and he'll definitely be a weapon for them on game day.
Yeah, for sure, Coach. So, my last few before we get you out of here, Coach, and for anybody that's listening, maybe that watched the BI and Okanagan one, they're going to be thinking I'm buttering you guys up here for this one. But I'm curious, kind of a two-parter, Coach, for you guys. First and foremost, I'm kind of curious for you to maybe give a little bit of a shout out or maybe a teaser for anybody watching that's not only in the Langford, Victoria area. I'll actually be making the trip down on Saturday to check out the game live in person, so I'm looking forward to that. But why should not only BCFC fans, but if you're just a football fan in general on Saturday, come out to Starlight Stadium. My second part, Coach, was as I said to anybody that's listening from the other video, I told Coach Miller that biasly, obviously, I would take a day at Caledonia Park over any, but the Apple Bowl is a close second. Now, I would say, Coach, as I said, I'm not buttering you up here, but a close 1A, 1B, I would say, is a night game at Starlight. Now, I know this one isn't going to be quite that. I think it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, but there's nothing quite like an atmosphere down at Starlight Stadium, especially as I mentioned for those night games. I was lucky enough to play in a Cullen Cup in 2017 at Starlight Stadium, so I know that place can get rocking, especially with the venue, best venue you could say definitely in the BCFC. But to kind of pass it back over to you, Coach, why should any fan in the area get out to Starlight Stadium on Saturday for a very good football game?
I think the big thing is you're supporting fantastic young men in their goal to better themselves in terms of football, and also grant themselves opportunity further down the road, and understand what our program's mindset is, and that is to help build these young men into competent uh, people into society, and as well as excellent football players. Um, Coming out to Starlight, especially, we have, you said best in BCFC. I'll go and say I think we have one of the best in the CJFL period. I think we are very blessed, the city of Langford, to have Starlight Stadium, to be able to play and practice here on a daily basis. Um, I to come out here and be a part of the football family of Victoria and be out there with all the youth football teams from Saanich and Spartans, the Westshore Warriors, Couch and Bulldogs, as well as the local high school players. I just want to get people out here to grow the sport and to get more young kids involved in football, and give those kids an opportunity that to be a football player, and gain those experiences that a lot of us have gained playing the sport, and learn those life lessons to help be a better person overall in the community, which I think football is a very valuable thing to do. Um, to come out here and support a local football program with kids and coaches that have that mindset, I think that's a fantastic way to spend a night with the family, get out of the house, and enjoy a very, very good and competitive game of football in one of the best stadiums in the country.
Great answer, Coach. Well, don't want to take any more of your time, Coach. I'll let you go prepare for the rest of the week, as it is playoff time here in the BCFC. No better time of year. Coach, appreciate it, and we'll chat on Saturday.
Appreciate you, Cole. Thank you.
Yep. Alrighty, folks. A big shout out to Coach Bryan down in Langford for joining us here tonight in one half of our semifinal Saturday playoff preview, to preview the Prince George Kodiaks and Westshore Rebels. Of course, we got to preview the other half of the matchup. So let's head up to Prince George. Let's bring in Prince George Kodiaks current head coach Jamie Boreham. Coach, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Doing well.
Awesome, Coach. As I was just saying there before we hit record, it's that time of year, Coach. Playoff football is in the air. This upcoming Saturday, and of course, Coach, we got to start right there, Coach. A big congratulations to you and the program earning the first ever playoff spot in program history, Coach. I know obviously the bigger picture is to obviously go 1-0 this week, and hopefully punch your ticket to the Cullen Cup, and bigger things are in mind. But Coach, what does this just mean maybe to the program in terms of taking another step in the evolution of the Prince George Kodiaks, obviously taking over the program, and kind of getting it started in 2022, and now in the fourth season of the program's existence, you guys are able to punch their ticket to the playoffs. Just what does that mean to not only yourself but the program as well?
Yeah, you know what? It's a testament to the organization, our community, and the players that believed in the message. It takes time, and our biggest thing is recruiting football players, but recruiting great people to come here and play. And we promise to develop them and grow them, and help get them off to hopefully their next best opportunity after us. But the guys have bought into in-season plan, off-season training. Carrying over in the continuity from year to year with our players and coaches, it's really helped our success. We have our ups and downs and our learning moments all week by week, but we put ourselves in a position to be here, and we're excited. It's great for the program, and our fans love us. We'll have some fans down in Victoria for the playoff game too. So but all the work, and now it's 1 week at a time, and we're back to work and focusing on Westshore, and their heck of a football team.
Yeah, Coach, when looking at your regular season from a whole, obviously I know it just ended as of the time of this recording. It's only Monday night, the regular season ending on Saturday, Coach. I know not a lot of time quite yet to maybe kind of look back and take some things from the regular season, but I'm kind of curious, Coach, and maybe some of the lessons you were able to take from the regular season, not only for the playoff matchup upcoming with the Westshore Rebels. Obviously, you guys saw them way back in week number 1 at home, obviously the 33-13 loss, where I'm sure you guys feel like you're a much different team, as are the Westshore Rebels in many ways as well. But kind of learning a lesson from the regular seasons of, like, anybody can be beaten on any given Saturday, right? I'm sure you guys even feel a little bit of you guys could have 2 more wins and possibly be like a 7-3 type of team. But what type of lessons are maybe able to kind of quickly look at from the regular season and hopefully implement them on this upcoming Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's the leadership, and at the end of the day, we got to worry about ourselves, worry about what's in front of us, and play Kodiak football. And I think we're still learning what that is. We try and grow and try and play a certain way. It happens sometimes and other times, and that's our youthfulness. I think we've seen. Um, but we have the players that can take us there, and if we can get playing on the same day and the same play, and we got some guys we could be dangerous out there. We got a 5th-year quarterback. We have a solid veteran receiving crew. Our defensive line and our linebackers are have some veteran leadership and returning members there as well. So we're going to see what happens when we can get it all in the field, but yeah, like leadership's been a big one that we've been trying to push, and recently we've had some new faces step up, and that's been a nice thing. Hearing those voices lead, and we kind of preach that here, that whether you're a 1st-year guy or a 5th-year guy, your voice matters, and it's just been neat to see our guys grow and evolve, and every team every year is different, and this one's been it's been a fun one, and we're looking forward to the week of prep and getting to the game.
You talk about leadership, coach. You talk about your 5th-year quarterback, and that was where I said in the game of football, 9 times out of 10 in a lot of these conversations, we're always going to start with the quarterback. When I was just chatting with Coach Bryan down in Victoria, obviously this is going to be a great quarterback matchup, Coach. But you speak about leadership. Sawyer Thiessen, I know, is a guy that we chatted about with when you guys were up here in Nanaimo and had a victory over the Raiders, about just how much of a treat it is to watch Sawyer Thiessen play the quarterback position. I'm curious, Coach, of like kind of what it's been like for you to kind of being able to watch him up close and personal, and why he's maybe the perfect leader for you guys. I feel like he's even underrated in a sense throughout maybe not the BCFC, but I think from the CGFL as a whole. You hear the talks of the Gavin Sessions and Liam Kroger's, rightfully so. Those are very talented players, but I feel like Sawyer Thiessen's right in that conversation of best quarterback in the BCFC as well, and is a great quarterback for your program. So why is he kind of the perfect leader for you guys, as well as just how much of a treat it's been to watch him?
Yeah, you know what? Sawyer's one of those guys that heard the message and believed in me, and came here from the University of Manitoba. So he's been everything we've asked him to be. Last year he played hurt for 3/4 of the season, had surgery at the end of the year and rehabbed it, and he's really taken on like an even bigger leadership role. It's been fun working with him on in game planning and play calling, and he's a leader we need on the field. He's a leader we need off the field. He's a gentle soul, but you put a football helmet and some shoulder pads on him, and that kind of changes him a little bit. And you know what? Our guys look up to him. He's almost like the grandpa on the team somehow, even though he's just 22. You probably put a house coat on him and some slippers, and he'd fit right in. So he's an amazing person, and a football player. But you know what, the person Sawyer is he's gonna be successful in life beyond this, and his leadership just really helps us be the team we want to be, and he's got a fire inside him that helps drive us to be better.
Yeah, I talked about him being underrated throughout the country, Coach, and I think many people would kind of categorize him as kind of like a pocket passer, which I think he is in many ways, but I feel like he is also an underrated dual athlete in many ways as well, and it's kind of sneaky athletic, able to get outside the pocket every once in a while and pick up some yards with his feet as well. I'm curious, Coach, when transitioning the conversation a little bit more with your offensive skill makers, I guess you could say, I think you're being a little bit modest, Coach. I believe you said, solid group of offensive weapons. When you look at the receiving core and you look at guys like, Matthew Sturgis, Noah Lank, we dubbed him Agent 87 up here in Nanaimo when we couldn't get the play card on him. Guys like Carson Briere, fellow veterans, Cale Cowley as well, who you guys are having guys step up on a weekly basis, whether, whoever's number's called, it's kind of on any given week. You also look in the backfield like a guy like Halverson, who's another underrated back throughout the conference as well. How much confidence do you have, as the offense play caller, to kind of, on any given play, you can dial it up for each one of your playmakers, and they're gonna fulfill and execute.
Yeah, you know what? It's nice having a solid group. Like we got 8, 9 guys that we're comfortable putting on the field, and I think we've struggled with injury and sickness week by week, and so that's been nice because we've always been able to put a crew on the field that know what they're doing. So it's nice for the quarterback to have a group that he knows that builds chemistry and confidence. Halvey's been solid for us. It's been nice to see Simon Alifa grow as a first-year guy with us as well. And we are, a late season addition of Jacob Wong, who played for us previously. Just school stuff didn't work out for him. He came back. He kind of adds a little change of pace in the backfield for us. So, I'm proud of our receivers. They're a real nice group of guys for us. We've been working on some different understandings and getting on the same page, and so hopefully we can stay healthy and not be sick this week. It's kind of bit us the last couple weeks in a row here. But yeah, we'll get Carson back on the field, and we missed him last week, and Brady Van Summeren and Cale Cowley and Ben Fair and Noah Lank and Sturgis and Quinn and Myron Brown and AB, and AB's been so underused. He's our returner, and so we'll look to kind of he's a fun guy to watch, and so we got a group of receivers and they can cause some damage, but in order for that to happen, we all got to be on the same page, and that's really a stress of not just this week, but the last 4 or 5 weeks here.
Yeah, Coach, I know I don't have to preach to you how much of a true three-phase game the Canadian football is. And obviously with, your special teams group, talk about how much of a benefit it can be to a group to have a reliable special teams unit like you guys do in all three phases, whether it's Brady Harper and being able to kick the ball through the uprights, kickoffs, all that sort of stuff. You mentioned, the Brown AB and Myron Brown, who are dynamic returners for you guys. You talk about underrated. I think Andrew Brown would be up there for maybe possibly returner of the year in the BCFC this upcoming season. A very dynamic weapon when the ball's in his hands as a returner. As I mentioned, just kind of talk a little bit more about how much of a benefit that can be for a group. You talk about, your offense, right? You kind of get in, say, past the 40, 45-yard line, you kind of know you're in Brady Harper's field goal range. You kind of get that. It's maybe not something that you want to always fall back on, but something that you it's a nice confidence to have in the back of your mind that, hey, we have points here regardless of, we get stopped or whatever. So how much of a benefit can that be, Coach?
Yeah, I honestly I wish our special teams was better off the hop. We've definitely improved week by week, so that's been nice to see the improvement level from I guess all phases of our football. But end of the day, like you got offense, you got defense, and specials, and specials just it supports the offense and the defense, whether it's establishing field position or winning field position and setting up short fields. Yeah, you know what, we've improved week by week, so hopefully our special teams is up to the task this week. It's playoff time, so all the little plays and that's special teams and taking penalties on special teams. We've been not great at that at times throughout the season, so it's been nice to see that improvement, and that's just decision making and effort. Put yourself in the right position to not take that penalty. So yeah, you know what? We love AB. He's been awesome. We got a couple other returners that, AB's just a ball hog. So uh he's taken as many as he can. But he does a real good job reading and sets our stuff up. He understands it. And the guys in front of him have just been recently doing a real good job blocking. So cover teams, they're getting better. We got some health back on the field, and that helps for that. And Brady, I think Harper, he hasn't had the season that he's hoped for, but he's been solid nonetheless. And Cale Cowley's taken over some punting duties. And when that guy tags one, man, that thing's a rocket off his foot. 6'7" guy with that long leg. So yeah, special teams makes a world of difference. And we stress it in winning field position, and at the end of the day, that's we want to win field position and score. And when we have that opportunity, our guys understand the message.
Yeah, Coach, when flipping the conversation over to your defense, last few before we get you out of here, Coach, I'm curious. When speaking about your defense, I know how competitive that group is on that side of the football. I'm curious when looking at the matchup this upcoming Saturday, how excited I'm sure your group is for the task at hand of the session and kind of the Zion Brown kind of attack that's coming in, or I guess you guys are going to. But obviously, you guys are very talented on that side of the ball with a guy like Caden who's been the league leader in tackles almost all from the jump. You look at your secondary is very talented. It's going to match up with that receiving core and with guys like the Pittix, obviously Peyton Briere and stuff like that. Other guys that are in the secondary up front with guys like JJ as well. A true through level attack on defense. Just how excited is that group for kind of the challenge upcoming on Saturday?
Yeah, we just got out of meetings and we were talking about it. So, you know what? They pose multiple threats. Terrell Hoffland and Zion and their run game and Gavin and their line is solid. Um, it's they're one of the top offenses in the country, and we're gonna have our hands full. And how do you stop everything, right? So you can't. So we need to play football, play sound football, keep things in front of us, rally up and make some plays, and hopefully we can learn from our experiences in our first week with them, and take some of the film that we've seen over the past couple weeks and come up with a good game plan that puts us in successful situations to get off the field on D.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, and when looking at the matchup on Saturday, you guys are going to kick off at 3 o'clock down there in Langford. I'm curious. Obviously, you don't have to divulge all the secrets, all the goods that were had or talked about in meeting. But I'm curious, Coach, if you don't mind, maybe just sharing maybe a few, whether it's maybe a couple keys that you think to the game, or just maybe a kind of a recipe for your team, to go on the road on Saturday to pull off an upset that for many might call a shocker or stunner. But I feel like if you pay attention, this is going to be a very good game um, on Saturday. Looking forward to this. I kind of going through the options of whether or not I should go up to the Apple Bowl and check out that game or not. I kind of wanted to check out this one, so I'm going to be down there down in Langford on Saturday, Coach, because I believe this is going to be the more competitive game and probably more exciting game. So I'm really looking forward to it personally. But as I mentioned, Coach, getting back to the question, just kind of maybe a few keys or maybe kind of a recipe for your club on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the big thing we're focusing on is correcting some of our mistakes and places of weakness for us. So we haven't been great at controlling the quarterback in the pocket, and that's come back to hurt us. So we will emphasize pocket control with the quarterback, and we always put an emphasis in being sound and stopping the run. Um, but you get a receiver who has, I don't even know how many catches and 1,000 yards or I don't know, 18 touchdowns and like that. Zion's had a season. So, if we don't know where Zion is, I think that'd be us doing a disservice to our team. So we'll, we'll know where Zion is, and hopefully we'll be able to, dial up the right coverage to take care of the situations that are presented to us. But hopefully we can control the pocket a little better than we have the previous weeks, and if quarterbacks have less time in the pocket, concepts have less time to develop, and then that puts coverage in better spot. So, if we can keep ourselves in good situations, hopefully we'll be able to, run this one down to the end there and see where the chips lie.
Yeah, for sure, Coach. My last one, and I'm kind of this is what I've been leaving with all the coaches with. Just kind of a shout out or a kind of call out to anybody that's in, and you started off with this of there might be a little bit of a contingent of Kodiaks fans making the trip down. We hear quite a bit. One of the you got to get the circle it off your bucket list, get up to Prince George and check out a game from your guys' barn up there. It sounds like it gets pretty rocking. Why should people come out on Saturday if they're not able to? Why should they tune into BCFC TV, as it should be a great one down in Langford?
Yeah, you know what? For as long as I've coached in this league, BCFC's been top talent. Competitive games, kids play hard. All of them do, and it's fun to watch them. It's fun, as you know, I as a teacher and a former player in the BCFC and university and played in pro. It's fun to watch these guys come through, and maybe you're going to find the next guy who's going to move on to university or make the jump to the CFL, and maybe this will be the place where you see that happen and recognize him as a real neat talent. So, our guys are coming to play. That's one thing I can always sit here and stand up and be proud about our guys is, we're going to come play and we're going to play for 4 quarters. We're going to hit you for 4 quarters and you're going to know you play a football game. And so hopefully it's a fun one. Our guys, we had a tough travel to VI and we kind of used that as a learning curve potentially for this game that we're going into. And that's how we approached it and that's how we spoke about it. So hopefully the things we learned from our travel to VI can pay dividends going into the Saturday.
Awesome, Coach. I appreciate you once again. I know time is so valuable this time of year when you're trying to, as you said, get out of meetings, also trying to balance a little bit of family life and whatnot outside of football. So I appreciate it, Coach, especially on a little bit of a late night recording. But Coach, excited to get this out to the fans in the BCFC and hopefully build the excitement for Saturday. As I mentioned, I'm looking forward to being down there at Starlight Stadium and checking this one out in person. So looking forward to it, Coach, and we'll chat on Saturday.
Look forward to seeing you.
Awesome. Alrighty, folks. Once again, a big time shout out to both Coach Boreham and Coach Bryan for hopping on tonight and talking a little bit about the semifinal Saturday matchup between the Prince George Kodiaks, the number 3 seed, and the number 4 seed. As I'm not just noticing now, I actually noticed probably about a couple minutes ago. Actually, I guess it would have been a few minutes ago, but towards the end of when Coach Boreham was with us, I looked down and I noticed that I messed up and put a number 4 beside the Westshore Rebels. So glad I noticed live. Hate that it took this long because I believe last time an error like this happened, I was able to quickly on the fly make a new one in the behind the scenes and then quickly get it in there without not many people noticing. This time it's obviously come 42 minutes into recording of this episode. So sorry to the Westshore Rebels because they are not the 4th seed. That is my bad. Correction, they are the number 2 seed and hosting this game. That's why people are probably like, why is the number 3 going to the number 4? That makes no sense at all. So shout out once again to both coaches. I should say all 4 coaches. I was lucky enough to sit down with all 4 of the coaches tasked with, I shouldn't say tasked with, they did a great job of leading their team into a playoff position. Of course, the bittersweet side of sports and playoff football is that 4 teams enter, 2 move on. So 2 will head into the offseason after this. Of course, 2 will move on to the Cullen Cup, which should be exciting. Lastly, in terms of the shout-outs, I have to give a big shout-out to both these programs as they are both doing it right in terms of doing their best in growing their players and the storylines around their players with, Prince George doing a fabulous job with things like Bear With Us, a podcast that's centered around their team that is fabulously done, great quality, and is great for not only the team but the league as a whole. Whether it's some random football fan who's tuning in on YouTube that might just come across it in their algorithm or whatever it may be, and the Westshore Rebels and Tyler Bennett, who do a fantastic job with their media as well in producing and the quality of their work as well. So I believe that should do it, folks. Of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like on the video, comment down below, letting us know how you guys are feeling after you heard from both coaches. Maybe give a little bit of a prediction, score prediction if you dare. Other than that, as I said, we will be continuing to pump out the content throughout the week on our social platforms. So be sure to follow us at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, as well as @_CF Fanatics on Twitter. Other than that, folks, enjoy both of the matchups. This will be the last time we talk to you guys until afterwards. Next week, we'll be back with a Cullen Cup preview. And if you thought we were excited for this one, folks, we're going to be excited for next week and to chat about that one. Of course, as I mentioned, we'll be down at the game in Langford on Saturday. If you guys run into us, make sure you guys say hello. If you guys are players as well, say hello. We'll be doing some content from there as well, of course, and then be posting that throughout next week. And of course, we'll be trying to get to you guys as quickly as possible on Saturday and Sunday as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is our second of our playoff previews. You guys missed it. Go check out our first of two with the DI Raiders and Okanagan Sun playoff preview. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.